In this lecture, we would like to discuss another most important concept under international relations and international law, and that is interventions. So, intervention takes place only when there is a dictatorial interference by one state in the affairs of the other. So, simply it means intervention. But now we would like to discuss the definition of intervention as it was by Professor Lawrence, an expert on international law, and according to him, the essence of intervention is force or the threat of force in case the dictates of the intervening power are disregarded. There can be no intervention without, on the one hand, the presence of force, negate or willed, and on the other hand, the absence of content on the part of the combatants, as it is defined by Professor Lawrence and Professor Ovenham defines intervention as a dictatorial interference by a state in the affairs of another state for the purpose of maintaining or altering the active condition of things in the particular state. And now we'll go to how it was defined by Caroline Thomas in his book New States, Sovereignty and Intervention, where it was defined by Thomas. Since a fundamental attribute of sovereign state is that a government is theoretically omnipotent within the territorial boundaries of its respective state, then any externally imposed attempt to limit that right and power, which is not desired or welcomed by the incumbent government, amounts to intervention. Any coercive attempt to obstruct the decision making capability of a theoretically sovereign state which does not originate within that state can be regarded as nothing less than intervention as it is defined by Professor Caroline Thomas. So now we'll discuss about the various theories of intervention. So in that context, first we would like to discuss the ideological grounds and theories of intervention. In international relation, ideology has formed the basis of intervention. Every country has the right to practice its own ideology. After the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, the Soviet Union asserted her position as a wellspring of the world revolution. Thereafter, the Second Comintern Congress assumed the role as the shatter of the international revolution with the laying down of the ideologist principles which were to govern communist policy. After the Second World War, Soviet Union intervened in Poland and Hungary and under words of fact assumed the role of the leader of the communist bloc. Soviet Union intervened in Czechoslovakia in 1968 on ideological grounds. The United States also launched moves to contain communism. The period of Cold War accelerated this process. The American involvement in Vietnam was mostly on ideological grounds. The superpower rivalry is based on ideological differences, and now we would go to discuss the second important theory or the relevant factor, that is political. So, in that context, would like to discuss that most of the interventions are politically motivated. This power rivalry prompts each other to intervene in other sphere of influence and thus enhance its own influence. The German crisis, the Korean crisis, Vietnam, Indochina Peninsula, Chile and Angola are certain problems where intervention by either of the superpower was politically motivated. A detailed study of this political intervention we would like to discuss in our next upcoming lecture on intervention in practice. So now we would like to discuss the economic basis or the economic grounds of intervention, which we could discuss under three different heads such as trade relations, public financial relations, and private financial relations. So, economic intervention is distinguishable from intervention for economic reason. So, the economic intervention as it fell under trade relations and public financial relations and also under private financial relations. So, we would like to discuss the first one regarding trade relations. The economic intervention occurs in three prominent ways through trade relations: the manipulation of tariffs, imposition of an embargo, and imposition of a boycott. Tariffs are generally imposed as a means to get revenue or because special local interest clamor for protection against foreign competition or other purposes connected with national interest. Such tariffs are usually legitimate expression of national policy, and although they have a damaging effect upon the economics of other countries, they are not treated as intervention. But when a tariff is solely established with the view to damage the economic of another nation as a means to coercing another nation, the tariff becomes an intervention. And regarding the second one under trade relation is falling under embargo can be in the form of restrictions imposed on exports or a restrictions on imports. An embargo becomes intervention only when it is used mainly for the purpose of forcing another state to fall in line with a course of action or inaction warranted by the nation placing an embargo. And now we would like to go to the third aspect falling under trade relations as an economic intervention, and that is boycott, the clearest type of intervention through trade relation, is the imposition of a boycott by which the state through its national interrupts commercial and financial relations with another state. When a government persuades or compels its citizens to enforce a boycott, then it becomes interventions. So now we will go to the second aspects relating to economic intervention is relating to public financial relations. So economic intervention through public financial relations can be carried out by various means. A nation may refuse to grant public loan to another state. It may freeze the public assets of another state. It may manipulate the control of exchange, or it may devalue or inflate its currency in relation to the currency of other states which are falling under public financial relations. And as regarding the third one, which is falling under trade relations as a kind of economic intervention, that is the private financial relations. So, economic intervention through private financial relations occurs when a state prohibits all private banking and lending institutions from granting credits to another nation or its citizens, or when it prohibits the sale of stocks or bonds of that nation or its corporate citizens within its jurisdiction, and when it suspends all existing clearing or payment agreements between its citizens and citizens or governments of another country. So, these are the grounds and the ways of economic intervention. And now we will discuss about economic intervention and the intervention in practice. So, intervention in practice, which we would like to start from the Nicaraguan and USA relation. So, when Nicaragua and the United States concluded the Brian Cameroon Treaty in 1914, which envisaged besides cessation of Great and Little islands in the Caribbean Sea, an exclusive option to the United States to build another interoceanic canal through the Nicaraguan territory. And the next one, that is the neighboring states of Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Honduras protested against this treaty on the plea that it violated the rights of those states under an earlier treaty. The states of Costa Rica and El Salvador brought an action against Nicaragua in the Central American Court of Justice, where their stand was vindicated. Had the aggrieved party been a big power, it would have resorted to intervention, which was inadvisable in our part. Similarly, in the second issue, in regarding intervention in practice, you could analyze that when India disallowed passage of Pakistan aircraft through Indian airspace, Pakistan could not have the right to intervene when India registered her protest against the lifting of embargo on sale of arms to Pakistan by United States in 1974. It was not intervention but only an expression of concern to the United States. And now we would like to discuss another important intervention in practice, and that is the Deconism's amendment, which is attached to the Panama Canal Treaty, ratification by the United States Senate on March 16, 1978. The amendment suggested by a senator, and he said that United States of America and the Republic of Panama shall each independently use of right to take such steps as it deems necessary, including the use of military force in Panama to reopen the canal or restore the operation of the canal as the case may be. And now we would like to discuss another important intervention in practice, and that is regarding the London Treaty of 1863. The Franco-British and Russian intervention in Greece during 1917 with a view to re-establishing constitutional government in terms of the Treaty of London 1863 was also deemed justified under that pretext. In fact, there is no scope for such intervention under the domain of international relations. So, in that context, we would like to discuss another important intervention in practice. In that context, we would like to discuss the Constantinople Convention. The United Kingdom, France, and Israel attacked Egypt in 1956 when the latter nationalized the Suez Canal. This intervention was justified by United Kingdom and France on the plea that they had to protect their vital interest, and Egypt had, by nationalizing the Suez Canal, violated the Constantinople Convention, which envisages the canal an international waterway. However, the United Nations rejected these pleas and condemned such adventures. And now we would like to discuss some other interventions in practice, and as such, in that context, we will discuss the Calvo doctrine. So, there have been certain occasions when certain states have intervened into the internal affairs of another state on the pretext of protecting their nationals. America has intervened many times in Latin American countries on the pretext of protecting the life, property, and honor of American nationals. Britain has also exercised this right quite a number of times. As a matter of fact, no such right exists or could be assumed in the realm of international relations. It was under these circumstances the Calvert Clause was envisaged to curb the intervening attitude of big states on the pretext of protecting business interests of its national. The underlying principle of Calvert doctrine is that a foreign national who makes investment abroad has to seek redressal of his grievances under the municipal law of the host country. The state would not intervene. So, in that context, we would like to discuss some other aspects where intervention in practice, and that is relating to self preservation and self defense. Some states proclaim the right of intervention in the interest of self preservation, self defense, and national security. As Israel won Syria in 1975 and 78, not to Middle and Lebanon is internal affairs or Israel would intervene as a counter move. Or then President of the United States said in 1975 that the possibility of intervention in the affairs of any foreign state could not be ruled out if Union of Soviet Socialist Republic in his Brezhnev doctrine has claimed that the Soviet Union has the right to intervene in socialist countries if any of their leaders went astray and tried to take out a given socialist country from the ambit of Soviet influence. And also, we found the very attitude of United Nations, however, intervention becomes permissible. Under the Charter of United Nations, when Security Council initiates any action under Chapter 7th of the Charter, after having been satisfied that the breach would pose a threat to international peace, the General Assembly can take similar action under the Uniting for Peace resolution of 1950 when the Security Council fails to take any action because of the veto power with the permanent members of the Security Council. So, now we would like to discuss regarding the very provisions under the Charter. Intervention is the violation of Article 2, Clause 4 of the United Nations Charter, which prohibits use of force or threat thereof against the territorial integrity and political independence of another state. And in that context, would like to discuss some other aspects of intervention as such, cultural imperialism. So, in that context, we would like to discuss the cultural imperialism as by the nationalist, socialist, and the communist international and secular ideas. So, the cultural imperialism has manifested itself in various forms. In the Second World War period, it existed in the form of National Socialist fifth column in Europe. For example, in France on the eve of Second World War, the pro-national socialist ideas had already won Germany a number of supporters, which made Germany's task of military conquest. In fact, it would not be an exaggeration to say that France had already been conquered by means of cultural imperialism before the military conquest finished the task. On the other hand, the British leadership became conscious of the dangers of cultural imperialism before, and in turn all the known national socialists and their sympathizers from the country. And another notable instrument of cultural imperialism has been the Communist International, which received direction from Moscow and exercised control over the Communist parties of various countries to ensure that the governments of their countries followed policies which accorded with the policy of Soviet Union. This naturally provided Soviet Union great amount of control over the activities in other countries. In countries where the Communist Party succeeded in forming governments, the Soviet Union virtually controlled these governments. The competition between Soviet Union and China to bring the uncommitted nations under their control is yet another manifestation of cultural imperialism. Both these countries try to bring the uncommitted nations under their control by claiming to be the true heir of Marx and Lenin and branding the other as a supporter of anti-communist force. And now we'll go to the third form of cultural imperialism, and that is secular ideas, which can also be used as instrument of cultural imperialism, as was done by France in the post-revolutionary period. It made a deliberate use of the outstanding features of the French civilization to promote its interest in foreign countries. So, professors and international jurists and experts and Professor Mugantu expressed that the way of public sympathy throughout the world which came to the aid of France in both world wars was the fruit of cultural imperialism, which in turn strengthened the French military imperialism of the latter victorious year of both world wars. And now we would like to discuss another form of intervention, and that is covert intervention, and that we could discuss under the different heads like military assistance, economic assistance, transnational ideology, then clan regimes and satellite states and extra diplomatic agencies such as propaganda, espionage, discriminatory trade policies. So, under the first, we would like to discuss under the UN Charter, the states are not permitted to intervene in the internal affairs of other states. The states do make covert, hidden intervention in the affairs of other states. This type of intervention is practiced both by the big as well as the small powers, but usually the big states, which are highly organized and have big stakes, make use of it. The common technique to intervene in the affairs of other states, which you could discuss under the heads of military assistance, and the states make use of military and economic assistance programs to influence the internal political, economic, and social developments in the recipient country. Quite often, they compel the recipient country to implement important political reforms by threatening to withhold the assistance and thereby mold its internal developments. In this method, the foreign aid personnel of the donor country promote revolutionary or counter-revolutionary activities. And also in regards to economic assistance, the powers try to provide funds, training, as well as weapons to the opponents of the government so that they may capture power and accord more favorable treatment to the supporting state, it may be observed that the possibilities of such intervention are greater in a society characterized by ethnic, religious, economic, or ideological conflicts. And the third one is relating to transnational ideology. So the states can intervene through people who do not accept the legitimacy of the other prevailing in their country and hold loyalty towards foreign states. In other words, the presence of transnational ideologies in a country also encourages foreign intervention in the domestic affairs of the state. And now we'll go to the fourth kind of covert intervention, and that is client regions and satellite states. So, due to risks involved in nuclear war and fear of condemnation in the United Nations, the states try to intervene with a view to establish client regions and satellite states. In other words, the covert intervention enables the state to achieve the desired objectives at the minimum cost and risk. And the fifth one, that is another most important covert intervention, and that is extra diplomatic agencies. So the states try to promote activities against the social and political order if they are convinced that it is to their advantage. They create extra diplomatic agencies who are primarily concerned with dispensing of propaganda, organizing of agitations, training of foreign revolutionaries, as well as direction of subversion. Some of the important organization of this type have been the Central Intelligence Agency, the KGB of the then Soviet Union, and we could also say the ISI of Pakistan and the Mossad of Israel. So the other methods of intervention are propaganda, espionage, discriminatory trade policies, or support or denial of support to governments or their opposition in domestic crises where such foreign support might prove to be decisive. According to some scholars, even military or political support given to a regime trying to maintain itself against a possible or actual rebellion constitutes intervention. Sometimes intervention is also made by actors other than the states. For example, the International Monetary Fund often intervenes in the developing countries and often impose policies on states which government do not approve them. Thus, it forced Jamaica to implement policies which were against the socialist orientation of democratically elected government. This element of compulsion exerted by the International Monetary Fund can very well be described as intervention. Thus, it can be said that although the old rules regarding non interference in the internal sphere are still formally acknowledged by the powers and find place in the international charters and treaties, the powers do make covert intervention in various forms to promote their national interest. So, in this lecture, we have completely covered what exactly intervention means. And always intervention is identified as external intervention in the internal affairs of a state. So, in that context, what exactly intervention means and how it is being defined, we discuss the definition given by Professor Lawrence, Professor Oppenheim, and Professor Caroline Thomas. And then we discuss the different theories of intervention, such as ideological theory, political theory, and economic theory. And in the context of ideological theories of intervention, we discuss the rival ideologies in international law and relation, that is communism versus capitalism, and how communism as an arsenal in the hand of Soviet bloc and made intervention on ideological ground, and also capitalism as an ideological weapon in the hand of the American bloc to intervene. And when we discuss about political theories of intervention, it is otherwise known as intervention in practice, and in that context, we have discussed the very aspects of trade relations, tariffs, embargo, etc. So, also, we have discussed the practical intervention under the political theories, such as in case of Nicaragua and the United States and India and Pakistan, the Panama Canal Treaty, and also the London Treaty, and also the Constantinople Convention, the Calvo doctrines, and also another aspects of political intervention is falling regarding self-preservation and self-defense. And finally, we have also discussed the economic theories of intervention in regards to trade relations, public financial relations, and private financial relations, and in regards to trade relations, the very question of intervention that we have discussed under the three heads like tariffs, boycott, embargo. Then we have discussed about what exactly cultural imperialism means. And in that context, we have discussed the role of national socialist and the kind of intervention made by the National Socialist and the Communist International, and also those states believing secular ideas and how they also intervene in other countries' internal affairs. And lastly, we have discussed regarding what exactly covert intervention means. And it is a kind of intervention which we have discussed under the heads of military assistance, economic assistance, transnational ideologies, and establishment of land regions and satellite states, and also the last most important covert intervention, and that is extra diplomatic agencies such as in the form of propaganda, espionage, discriminatory trade policies, etc. So, in this particular lecture, we have devoted completely to external intervention by a state in the internal affairs of the state, and how it is being defined by international jurists and professors, and the theories of intervention, and in particularly intervention in practice, then what exactly cultural imperialism means, and what exactly covert intervention means. So, in this context, we would like to say that no doubt at present the very form of intervention into some extent are similar to cultural imperialism and covert intervention, as at present we found as a practice among the superpowers or those states which are more powerful in comparison to other states in the developing countries, those who adopt the very form of covert intervention.